Everyone, we've been busy playing games during the holiday season. So between the big Euro games, we also have these games that we've been playing in between heavy games.
Yep, we've got a series of small, light, medium, party sorts of games, some good potential stocking fillers here, all sorts of little fun things we're going to take you through with a little review.
We will. And by the way, I'm Stella and this is Taryn from Meeple University. And let's do it. We have Pyramido first, which is ancient Egypt theme where we are building pyramid. Ta-da! Tile placement pyramid.
Yes, this is a tile placement game. It's a multi-round, multi-level tile placement game, which has some interesting things going on. So it is essentially tile draft. There are 3 tiles you can choose from on your turn. You pick one. You replace from one of the adjacent stacks. So that gives you some ability to influence what your other players are going to face. And then when you put one of the tiles down in your pyramid that you're building up, you must take, if possible, one of the matching jewels from what you just put down and place it onto there. And then if we fast forward ahead to the end of a round, you'll have this 5x4 grid going on here. And essentially every one of these jewels that you've placed down, you look at the contiguous area and you score 1 point for each jewel icon that is showing in there. Plus you get double for your weakest. Now that's all relatively straightforward, but then you clear these off and you do it again and you start building up, this time being a 3x4. And so here is where you can you'll have the outer edge will stay and you can try to score them again. So if I put this here, I would get to put my red, and then when I went and scored that contiguous area, I would get these ones again. And so you build up a 3x4, then a 2x3, then a 1x2. And you've got a couple of these extra tiles that let you cover up and add some more. And you need to try to manipulate it so that you've got the jewels in the right place to score these outer ones multiple times. And you also don't want to be forced to put low scoring jewels down, because if you can keep them off the board, remember you have to put one each turn if you can. If you can keep them off, then you can double the scores for your higher scoring ones. So it's quite clever that way.
It is. What I love about it is the drafting. It's so clever. Wow. Maybe I've seen that before, but it's really suitable in this one. So the player who picked the tile, let's say I pick this one, I put it here, whatever. I probably wouldn't want to do it really, but let's say I pick this one. And then I actually then choose between these two piles, what's the next pile going to be available for the next player. Now that actually creates kind of like a bit of a tense as well. Like, do I even want to take this tile in the first place? If this one is really good for my opponent, would I want to do that? I mean, these two are like, this is going to be difficult. It looks like quite similar if they're going on green, and there's like a lot of points potentially can be scored then. So that's kind of like creating a bit more different tile drafting, and the fact that it's going up, that's really cool.
Yeah. I do think this mechanism works a bit better at 2 players, because then both the choice of your tile and the choice of what to bring down feeds into the play. I did feel that the drafting fell a little flatter at a higher player count, but I like the things you have to consider here. It's quite tense, and you can really lose a lot of points towards the end if you can't find and get the tiles that you need to score the big areas you've been collecting.
Taryn always loves that. He always loves hate draft. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just a thing. Like Azul, right? Azul had 2 players compared to 5 players. It's so different. It's like in 5 players, you kind of like almost random. Like just get whatever you get, or trying to get whatever you need first at the start before it's gone. But in 2 players, you be really strategic. I would say really like 5 times to see what opponent has. Let's say this is kind of like the same or almost a similar thing with this one.
Yes.
So it is a fun, family-friendly game, and we both enjoy it. And then the Sleeping Queens number 2, the Rescue. We're still rescuing.
Yes, this is a follow-up to, I believe it was a 2006 game. It was from a while back. One of Game Right's well-known family card classic. So this is a sequel to it.
Also educational.
Yes,
Family.
and this is one. The original game was it was designed by a family. It was largely based on the ideas. I think she was 6 or 8, one of the children in the family. So this is a follow-up
Yeah.
called Sleeping Queens 2, 15 years later.
Yes, we went to a Christmas event with our friends, and then there is a 7-year-old boy, and he loves Sleeping Queen 1 because the host of the party has it, and he kept playing it, and then the host ended up giving him. Do you know that?
Yes.
Ah, there you go. You weren't there when that happened, anyways. That boy really loves it. So that is like, I'm so impressed with him, by the way, with like wanting to learn, wanting to play lots of board games. Anyway, back to Sleeping Queen 2.
Yep, so this is a little card game. It's got some mathematics education tied in with it. How it will work, each turn, you have a knight, first of all, who has a special ability. And you roll a die, and that's going to tell you how many cards you draw off the main deck.
Knight in shining armor. Not shiny, shining.
And the cards can be a mix of things. They can be queens, so you need a queen to rescue a king. The game is all about rescuing these kings, and you need to first to get a certain amount does the rescue. So you need a queen, and you need a rescue companion. And to get the rescue companions, you've got to make a mathematical equation with the cards you've got.
I feel like eating pasta.
It does look tasty. Bow tie pasta is very stylish. So here it's 7 and 7. So I would need, for example, perhaps a 1 card, because you could do 7 divided by 7 equals 1. And so you would be rolling the dice trying to get these cards. There are also spell cards and event cards in here, which will help you to change the game up and swap cards around and things like that. But yeah, it's all about getting cards that are going to help you there. So here's an example. If I had these 3, I could do it as 9 divided by 9 equals 1.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I had a 7 and a 1 and a 9 and maybe another 1, I could do 7 plus 1 plus 1 equals 9, things like that. But you can only have 5 cards in your realm at any given time. So you've got to manage them, and you have to get the cards you need and discard the ones you don't.
It's quite random. It's definitely a family game. It's a fun filler game for learning maths. Like, definitely, I actually challenged myself as well. I mean, compared to Taryn, my math is, what's the word?
I do have a maths degree, so.
Be against somebody with maths degree. Come on. But you did help me, so occasionally when I'm struggling a little bit. So, I mean, they're easy equation, all right? And it's good to brush up.
Very
It's
cute
really
things
cute.
here. Turtle King being eaten by a crocodile is very cute.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the all-porpoise tool. That's a nice pun there.
Those are the ones that
Monkey
we need
Ranch.
to save the king. I mean, to be honest, I love the theme of saving the kings. It's not the king saving the queens, it's the queens saving the kings. Ha.
And here we have duct tape. This is probably my favourite one.
Yeah, duct tape. Oh, that's amazing. Fun little game. Third one, we have one of the 2 chicken games. This one is called Chicken.
Yes, chicken with an exclamation mark.
Bye-bye.
It's in a tube. It is a game of chicken in that it is a push your luck game.
Indeed.
And it's a big, quick playing push your luck game for 2 to 8 players, so it works very much in a party context. It is a race to 25. You are trying to score chickens or rescue chickens and protect them from the foxes, essentially. On your turn, you roll the dice, and you are trying to score these chickens, and every time you get an egg, you add another die to the pool. And then you can choose to re-roll all of your non-chickens and non-foxes. This one I just got, so I would roll that. And you would keep going, and you would keep adding new dice into the pool for the eggs until you chose to stop. And there's 2 ways it can end. So if you choose to stop, you score each of your chickens. Or if you end up with 3 foxes, let me see if I can get it. Yep, 3 foxes. Then you've gone too far, you bust, you don't get any points for the round. At the start of your turn, you can choose to lose 1 point and return all of the more risky dice back to the middle, and that's being a chicken essentially, and you just go back to rolling the less lucrative but less dangerous white dice.
Keep yelling, chicken! Every time we get chicken.
Yes. And it just keeps going until someone gets to 25.
Definitely a filler family fun push your luck game. It's literally just push your luck chicken.
Yeah, it's just a die rolling push your luck. It's sort of in there with same sort of container as well as zombie dice. So it's very much intended to just be a meet up quick filler, any sort of really quick filler. This one, it doesn't quite work for me because I felt the escalation was always way too quick.
Oh, right. The more dice.
Yeah, the dice came in really quickly. And because you're kind of, particularly if you're at a higher player count, if you're just racing to 25, then really the strategy is to, I felt the only obvious strategy was to roll them and hope you didn't get foxes and then just get big chunks of points. Because out of 8 players, someone is going to get big chunks of points. And it only takes like 1 player to build back up to all the dice.
You're kind of analysing it a little bit here, Taryn. It's a dice push your luck game.
Yeah, I don't know. That was my experience. That was my experience playing it. I didn't feel like the decisions were interesting. It was roll them all and hope.
Now the question is, can I actually pull this close and then not make the tokens fall apart? Ready?
It will be a challenge because of the seam on the edge.
This has become a dexterity game.
You have to pick them up if it goes wrong.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Oh!
There we go.
I didn't know I could do that. That's not bad.
Nothing collapsed at all. This one's like
oh my god,
precarious.
it's almost like you have to just. I know.
Oh no! Here comes a fox. Even it still stayed up pretty well after that.
You impressed her?
Yes, I am.
I swear I've seen on YouTube. There's this somebody with samurai of some sort cutting things really quickly, and oh my god, I can't remember at the end because it's so quickly that something is just like stay there, and I can't remember the rest. But like technically the same formula, the same theory. When you do it like really quickly, then what is it? The gravity will just like.
The inertia is greater than the
weight?
static friction.
Oh wow.
I really thought this was just going to get caught up in the edge. It looked like too thick a bit of fabric for me. So
well, we had fun. That's another game out of chicken.
Yeah, now I want to stack some dice and see if I can replicate it.
I don't think you can do that. Don't stack that dice. That's too high, Tarrant.
Ye of little faith.
From one chicken game to another, from one cylinder game to another cylinder.
Yes, this is called Go Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
So this one is a balancing dexterity game.
It is.
And it is
2 to 5 players.
2 to 5 players. And how it will work, you're building up a nest and you're trying to balance these eggs. So each player, we distribute all of the eggs. And then on your turn, what will happen is you draw a stick. And if both ends of the stick are the same, I wish I'd drawn a different one because it makes sense there. If they're not the same, then you add it to the nest and you have to keep drawing. And you have to start from the other end of the one you got. If it does match, then you likewise place it, and then you have the option of putting an egg into the nest.
But you start with a certain number of eggs.
Yes.
The goal is to get rid of all of your eggs.
Yep. So I wouldn't put it here because there's not very much nest in place. But if I just randomly make some more nest here,
it will fall, and then you will be you'll fail. That's it. That's the end of your turn, and you won't get to put that there.
Yep, so you can put it in, it has to stay, all the eggs that are there have to stay above the layer of the tin. And
I'm messing up all the eggs, sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, eggs.
Yep, if the eggs fall or if the sticks fall, you get a penalty, you have to take more eggs. And then at the end, your turn, if you have no eggs, you have to place the cuckoo on.
So what's with this different shape egg?
That one is a little bit misshaped, isn't it? Oops.
That's all right. But these are not Wingspan's eggs, all right?
No.
These are still cute.
A little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger to put. Fun little dexterity game, this one. It's definitely another filler. Family friendly. Plays. Oh, I always think that it will play a bit more. But doesn't matter. It's probably too long of a wait.
Yeah, you probably also don't have that many eggs, so it becomes quite random.
Oh no.
And that's something that you want to try to avoid.
Wow. That's the end.
Yeah. It's not bad. There's a lot of balanced dexterity games out there in the world. This is another. To me, it doesn't distinguish itself above many of the others that are out there, but it's a good little, it's a good little time. Someone's going to make something fall over and you're going to laugh at them. Mm-hmm. That's really what this is all about.
Mainly I laugh at Tarrant.
Someone's going to try to put a stick in a really obscure location
like
on
Tarrant.
the outside.
Did you do that? Yeah, you have.
Yeah, of course I did.
Of course he does. Like Tarrant does all the obscure things.
Yep.
You want to try to like put something pull it really hard and then try to not make things fall apart like I did or something?
And you want me to get the thing from chicken to come out again?
No.
I was thinking that.
What? Oh no, this is gonna be no. Okay, bye. This is gonna. I'm not responsible for helping you cleaning up the mess. Bye.
That's fine. I will take responsibility.
And of course I'm back. I want to see this. Well, this is heavier.
And it stayed above the line.
This is actually heavier. Well done, Tarrant.
I mean,
you
the
redeem
eggs are
yourself. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
But you've redeemed yourself. This is like easier because it's wider surface and then heavier.
This is the crossover you never knew had to happen.
There you go. Yep. Another quick game. This one is sort of adult party game. Everything ever. It's 2 to 10 players.
Yes, and when we say adult, we mean for adults, not.
It's not dirty or anything like that.
18 plus 30 or anything.
Yeah.
This is. Yeah, the basic concept of this is nothing new. It's a game where there's a category and you're trying to name things that are in the category. But in this particular game, there are 2 categories at any given time. And so you'll go around the circle, and when it's your turn, you have to name something new in both categories. And if you're really clever, you can find something that fits in both categories all at once. That's sort of the holy grail of playing. But really, it's just going around coming up with what comes in. So here we've got every song with the word home in it, or every movie title that's a character's name. So I could say Sweet Home Alabama and Forrest Gump. So, they're almost the same. You played for
Alabama.
But
they're both 2.
He played for Alabama, but they are different.
Yeah, they're different. So it's really hard.
Yeah, and then it would go to you.
I wouldn't be able to say anything. It's like on the spot. This is a tough one. Like, there's no timer as such thing, but then you're like, oh no, like there's pressure. What is it? Every movie title has a character's name. I can't think of any. Well, Forrest Gump, which you have mentioned, came to mind first, and that's it. Oh, Jack Reacher. That's it.
Very good. And you would also have to say a song with home in it.
You already said it. What else song with home in it?
There's got to be a song called Home, right?
Home.
There we go. Who's it by?
No, who knows?
So you go round and round, and that's basically the fun of the game. It does get a little bit complicated beyond that. So
we didn't play this.
We have 3 cards each in
game.
hand,
Yeah.
And if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know what's going on, if you don't
what's going on? What's going on? Where am I?
If you can't think of a category, an answer for that category, then you can play one of the cards from your hand and cover it up.
Every Sam.
And it changes the category.
Oh, every Sam.
You just keep going round and round. This one gives you a good chance of finding a single character.
Movie title, that's a character name. So if you can do it, you get a bonus of 1 card.
Yes.
Every movie title, that's a character's name, and every Sam. So a movie title with Sam's name.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I Am Sam it wouldn't quite work.
No. Well, I want to do every flower.
So yes, that's how it works.
Anyways, yes.
There's a whole lot of cards. This is a really big stack here, so many categories to play with. There are things here. There are like judge cards. If someone's being a bit dodgy with their answers, you can give them half a chance, and then it becomes you're out of order, and that's the penalty. As you as you play these cards, once you're out of cards, if you fail to do something, then you have to pick up the whole deck and they become penalty cards. So it's a very timing thing. You kind of get knocked out of the running if you get stuck taking the whole
Negative
pile.
points, yeah.
So I guess it's not going to necessarily be the player who played the best, but the player who had the best timing.
I think you still play the best. I mean, you are basically a walking encyclopedia. So you've got all these, like, look, every composer, every song with animal in it, every princess, all these, every apple, every dog movie. It's like there's a lot of categories and you're really good at these. Like, I can never beat you.
No, I'm sure you'll one day.
That day will never come, but that's okay. I'm okay
there'll
with
be
that.
something there I've never heard of.
Well, every PC games, for example, then I'll be probably
Exactly.
no.
I'd get through Minesweeper and then where would I go from there?
I don't know. Every TV themed song with no lyrics. It's a lot, right?
That's
a lot.
That's obscure.
Like it was like basically like what, Baywatch? No, it's all of them. No,
I don't remember.
Chips. It's like the old movies. Do you know Chips? Do you remember Chips?
I know of Chips.
Not the one that you can eat. The TV show. Do you
Yes,
know Chips?
I know of that Chips
Okay, yeah.
as well.
All right. Okay, that's it. Is everything ever, which is Terran is unbeatable. Next game is Rankster. Plays 2 to 12 players. Can be played cooperatively or competitively.
Yes, this is I don't know, perhaps there's a lot of controversy in this tiny little box.
Quiz games. Why is it controversy?
Well, we'll get to that. So essentially the premise of the game, it is, it's kind of a wavelength sort of game. It's got a judge and ranks sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what will happen is that there'll be a question, for example, who would last the longest in a reality TV show.
Ooh.
And you draw 3 nominee cards from the deck. And you have to rank them in order and match the judge.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a wavelength version where you're in 2 teams and the person, you can have the person who is the judge, their team gets the chance, they get more points if they get it correct, then the other team gets a chance to follow. And this is, I mean, I guess you could always do this in any one of these judging games. This is the first time I've seen it on the box. It encourages you to use an internet AI engine to resolve the question.
So we have to guess what AI would choose if we're playing 2+ players. I mean, 2 players. I mean, you can do that as well for higher player counts, but that's just an option.
Yeah. So what do you think here? Who would last the longest in a reality TV show?
And I like it. They have information about the person underneath the name. So if you're not really familiar with that particular person, it has some information. So Bob Dylan is folk singer, songwriter. Boris Johnson is British Prime Minister. And Darth Vader, obviously Star Wars villain. Who would last the longest in reality? I would say Darth Vader.
Yeah, he'd just shoot everybody else.
Oh, so that's last long. It doesn't last long then.
No, everybody else, unless he got eliminated.
And then dead.
Bob Dylan would just leave. He wouldn't have the patience for that.
Yeah.
And then Boris Johnson, his image is important to him, so I'm sure he would stick it out as long as he could. But I'm sure Vader would beat him in the end.
So you would then open up, and there's an access code in here, and then see what the answer is. That's basically it. I mean, scoring is not really that important in this sort of games.
Yeah, it's the conversation that it drives.
Yeah. I want to try one where you technically we need to use AI, but you need to flip that card maybe.
So,
yeah. You need
who
to
would
rank
respond best to an invasion of Earth by aliens?
You can also flip that if you want, but anyways, I've got another one now. I think of my answer, and then you would rank them. Who would respond best to an invasion of the Earth by aliens? So you're gonna have to think what I would pick, right? Let me have a moment to think about it first, okay? All right, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think I don't know. Tintin always seemed like he would panic. I know he does lots of exploration, but I feel like he would panic. So he seems the worst. Nurgle basically is the invasion. So. And then Bob Marley would just be kind of chill about it. So, yeah, best to worst.
I would put it here. I thought Tintin is quite resourceful. He's scared, but come on. Him and his dog, they can take over the world. No, not really. But Nurgle, obviously, this is number one. He just doesn't scare. He's the one, the evil one from Warhammer. Is it evil? No, not evil one. God of Pestilence. And then the Tintin. So almost correct, but no. So that's basically the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does raise the interesting question, right? Obviously, AI art is very controversial at the moment. AI
there's no art in here.
Very controversial. This is essentially taking a party game where someone has to sit out of the round and be the judge, and replacing them with a computer AI. And you could do that on any game, really. You could play Wavelength with an AI deciding. You could play. You can play any of those judge sorts of games. And
but it does not... Sorry, you go.
Yeah, I just wonder if we will see more of that coming into party games.
Yeah, but because the thing is, it doesn't replace a human being that would otherwise get something out of it. It's just like replacing one of the players, which doesn't actually hurt anyone. So, but I don't know,
For me, I think you have more fun with a human player.
Correct,
anyway, because then you get to, if the AI comes up with a weird order, then you just sit there going, why would the AI come up with that?
Yes.
Whereas if a person comes up with a weird order, you yell at them and say why they're wrong.
What?
And that's much more fun.
You didn't yell at me why I was wrong. Do you think I was wrong?
No, I was wrong.
No. There's no wrong and right answer here anyway. But that's Rankster. So I just want to point out as well that there are lots of questions here. And then also for the other mode. So you who would you go rock climbing with? So, I mean,
Probably Nurgle again.
I don't want to go rock climbing with Nurgle. Why? Tintin would be much better and is much friendlier. And he's got a dog and it'll be lovely.
Dogs can't climb rocks.
Bob Dylan then. Who would travel the furthest for an excellent meal?
Nurgle. He's not the god of famine, he's the god of pestilence.
Who would sing the loudest in church? Bob Dylan. See?
Bob Dylan.
Like who
if you
would
can call it singing. I've seen him live many times. His singing is not his strong suit.
There you go, I haven't. Who would you choose as the new James Bond? Like still those three people. Tintin.
Yeah, Tintin is the most Bondy out of Nurgle and
But
Bob
Tintin's
Marley.
is a bit too nerdy though for James Bond. It needs to be a little bit more cooler.
Yeah.
Maybe Nurgle. Who would you ask to pick up your kids from school?
Not Nurgle.
Not Tintin. So that's it. It's actually a lot of this. And then speaking about the characters, well, there's Nurgle, Bob Marley. Did I say Bob Dylan?
We had both of them.
Okay, sorry. So there's Boris, Bob Dylan. Oh yeah, that's right. Joe Biden. I don't know what that is. There's Yoda, there's Mulan, there's Muhammad Ali, there's Moses, there's Mr. Beast. Oh, that's Mr. Beast. Famous YouTuber. Great. So yeah, they are like different characters. Obviously, I assume
James Bond was in there. Who would make the best?
Just that would be funny.
Could probably break the AI. If we did that. It would just get confused.
Probably that's it. That's Rankster. It's a fun game, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It drives, again, this sort of judge party game has to drive interesting discussions and arguments. And I think this fills a nice medium hole for that one.
And explains quicker than Wavelength, I guess.
Probably does, yeah.
Yeah, because Wavelength, it's easy, but then you gotta have to, like there are some things that you gotta have to really think about what. So it's a little bit unusual. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's unusual.
You don't have to tell anyone not to only open the wheel halfway.
Yeah, yes. And this is Kiss the Goblin, not Kiss the Box. 2 to 8 players.
Yes, so this is, I guess, this is another judge. It's a judge and guess party game. So
for D&D players.
Well,
I mean, not really.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. So you go, you go into that same theory. Here, you will have a scenario. So there'll be a scenario. There will be a judge, and the judge will go through these typical D&D role-playing alignments, and you'll draw one of each. So you'll get your standard one of the 9, chaotic evil, neutral neutral, evil lawful, all those combinations. You will give an answer to the scenario that's given based upon your alignment, and then everyone else needs to guess that alignment with their own coloured cards, and if they guess correctly, they get points. So, yeah, very much in the same vein as Rankster. It's an individual game. There's no reason you couldn't play it as teams. There's no reason in particular you couldn't play it against an AI if you trusted a computer AI to know what anything other than neutral would be.
This is one of the games that could create a fun story discussion between players. I think that's what I like about games like this, because from this one, okay, there's a medical emergency on a plane. You're not a doctor, but you've watched a YouTube video on how to help. What do you do? And then you tell your answer, and then they guess what you are. So that part is fine. The thing is, I'm not too familiar with the D&D terms. So I was like, keep having to check the rule book. I was like, what is lawful? What neutral? What does that mean? Oh, so for example, chaotic neutral is rules are boring. Unpredictability and fun are the most important. So that's the type of thing. So you tell the story based on this. So I have to like check it first.
Yes.
That's the only downside, but otherwise that's a fun one. I mean, that's not the only downside, but it's like I'm struggling like that.
It is a big downside. This game is, I don't find it super accessible. I think you really do need to, there's 2 things you need to do to play it well. You need to understand what these alignments mean, and you need to really be a storyteller. You do kind of want to role play it to get the fun out of it, because if you're not a role-playing game player and you're not super familiar with these, you're going to spend all your time figuring out, all right, what is the answer? You're just going to say the answer. And it's like a one-word answer to this question. I think what you want to do to really lean into this is get into a typical role-playing game experience.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it a lot less accessible than many of these party games.
But there are so many D&D players. Hey, if you are, what do you think? You're probably so used to those alignments mean, so you can just like, yep, that's it, and that's going to be like, as Taryn say, it's more of a role-playing thing in between your D&D games or something like that. I think that would be fun for that reason. Yep. And this is another judgy game, 2 to 6 players inside the box.
Yes.
Speaking about judgy, don't judge my box, please. It has a big hole in it.
Yes, this one didn't survive the trip back. Because I was fairly amused because this is the cover art and it was the one box that got destroyed on your journey. So yes. I was not sure whether it was intentional or not.
You thought that was artwork, wasn't it?
It was possible.
It was from Gen Con. Yeah, yes. This one. So inside the box it is. And this is it.
Yes, so this is kind of, I guess, there's elements of Codenames, Wavelength, and Deception Murder in Hong Kong about this game. So there is a grid of pictures, and you will draw a card as the clue giver, and it will tell you which of these pictures is yours. And then you draw 2 of these cards, and they will have different categories on them. And you place it somewhere between yes and no, left and right. Neutral, a lot, not a lot. So collectible, can binoculars be collectible? Well, maybe a little bit. Military binoculars, there's a market for those. But it's not, Funko Pops or anything. So I'd probably put it about there. Military collectors would.
I didn't know. Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
And then can wake you up. Binoculars, if someone threw them at you or you saw someone looking at you while you were sleeping,
but probably
maybe.
Not. I mean, compared to this, right? Compared to
the alarm clock. Mm-hmm. So you would pick that, and then everyone has these tokens, and they get to make a choice. And you can choose, if you think you know what the card is, you put it on the card, or you can put it on a border between 2 cards, or you can put it on a corner. And at the end, you then kind of Deception Murder in Hong Kong style, you'll draw another one. Ooh, can be found at a flea market. Many of those military binoculars at flea markets. So you would go through that. Everyone would end up with 3 tokens out there on the board. Get a lollipop at a flea market? Sure. And you get 4 points if you were on, and each of them can only be occupied by one person. And then you get 4 points if you were on the card, 2 points if you're on the edge of the card, 1 point if you were on the corner. And that is the game. Yeah, so for me this was okay. It wasn't, I didn't find it the most fun. I found it probably a bit restrictive. I think, again, with this sort of party game, I like to be able to, the fun comes from talking, arguing, and laughing about choices.
Yeah.
And I found that in this one, the questions were a little bit...
there's limited communication, so there's not really a lot of communications.
Yeah, unlike Deception Murder in Hong Kong, where they make these weird choices and then everyone debates what they could mean. This one, you make the weird choices and then you have to get to the end of the game before you can talk about why. So, like, it was fine. It did a couple things differently to what other games had, but I don't think it is a classic party game in the making.
I agree with Tarrant. And I think in theory, it sounds better than when it's played. I guess, I mean, these cards are limited. Sometimes in the game, the same questions keep coming up as well. And I was like, what are you going to do, And then it's a little bit obscure, but, obscurity could actually create the fun. As I say, it was fun, but it was not like it's going to be like Codenames Classic and so on.
I do have a great story from this one, though. We were playing and someone had done their clues and it was completely unclear. They were like the most generic clues ever. Had no idea. Everyone has to place 1 token every time. So I just shut my eyes and flung it into the middle of the table. And it landed like a quarter of a second before someone was going to place their token on a border.
Yeah.
Mine landed cleanly on the border right underneath where they were putting it. And I think it did end up scoring me 2 points.
What does it tell you?
It tells you that you play enough games and completely random things that make good stories will occasionally happen.
Great. Well done, Tarrant. Point City plays 1 to 4 players. Now, don't get confused with Point Salad. It's a different game.
Yes. It's a spiritual successor, or it's a thematic sequel, but it is a different game.
It is. I enjoy Point Salad. I don't know if I enjoy Point City or Point Salad. Point City is maybe just a touch more complex than Point Salad.
I never played Point Salad, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
I never got to that one myself.
That's right. I did live playthrough, not with you.
Right.
Point. And the digital adaptations of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how this game works, there is a grid of resource cards. There's 5 different resources in the game. Every turn you draft 2 adjacent cards, one at a time. And early on, you're just going to be collecting these as resources. And these get refilled, but whenever a card gets refilled, it's refilled with the opposite type. So, I just turned these over and there's something different. They're all buildings on the other side. And, wow, I did not stack this, but I've got a card I can afford. That's how long I've been doing this gig. So so when you're drafting cards, instead of getting a resource, you can get a building if you can afford it. So you would discard the resources, you would take it, you would add it to your tableau.
You told me to stack this card. It's a ploy, isn't it? You actually set it up.
Complete random.
Okay, fine.
And these will start to give you, this is sort of your Splendor type of mechanism. You start to get extra resources that you can play every time. So here I would have taken this. Again, I've got to take 2 orthogonally adjacent cards. So I would take this, perhaps add it to my hand, and then this would be replenished. This one was a resource, so it becomes a building, and this one was a building, so it becomes a resource. There's a huge deck. There's actually 3 decks, level 1, level 2, and level 3 cards. You stack those decks, you cut them down based on player size. You're trying to get points, which aren't on these early cards, but they all come on the later cards. There are some cards that let you take these civic tokens. These are in-game scoring objective tokens, give you a bit of flexibility. And yeah, you just play until all the cards are gone.
Feel good game. Like one of those that you build your engine, you're trying to get the resources, and as you go, you got resources, the permanent resources that you can use, the splendor feeling. It's a fun little game.
It's not too bad. This one didn't do it for me. Yeah, this was a game where I felt that, sometimes you feel the game plays you more than you play the game. Like there's all this stuff going on, but when it comes to your turn, there's really not that many viable options. Like it's pretty obvious what the best thing to do is. It's kind of how I felt here. I never thought I had more than 2 viable choices on any given turn. So
okay, well I quite enjoy it. Yeah, that's fair enough. I quite enjoyed building the engine and then that splendor filling and then collecting resources and then, which one you're going to go? And then there's the objectives as well.
Yeah.
I think it is a fun game. I think the other person that we're playing with, the first time we played, also enjoyed this. Not that it matters, to your opinion, but just saying that.
Yeah, look, it's.
I'm not the only one that likes it.
There's games for everyone.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, Point City.
Yeah, I do like the art. The art is cute.
It's very cute.
Little taco truck.
But look at the second. Let's have a look at this level.
Little
2.
quarry building pyramids.
And you get like resources gets better as well. You get like better resources. And there's this one as well. The wild. Yeah, it's really cute. Cute little game.
Yeah.
Welcome to the North Pole in Santa's workshop.
Yes, we have. This is our last game in this video.
Yes, last but not least, this is a Christmas theme game, the only Christmas theme game that we play also this holiday season. Santa's workshop.
Yep.
So this is actually play 2 to 5 players with beautiful artwork also on the back. Just little things.
Yep. And it's kind of 2 distinct games. 2 fully balanced games because there is a beginner mode and there's an advanced mode, and they don't share, like they share their basic theme and worker placement mechanism in common, but they don't share that much more in common when you get down to it.
And this is the second edition as well.
Similar, yes.
Yeah.
So basic version is here. This is a perfect, family's first worker placement type of thing. It's set up as, it has some interesting timing to it. So really the game, you play over 6 rounds. You've got 3 meeples in each round, or that changes with player count. You go to a space. Most of them are single occupancy. Some of them can have any number of people. And you pick up what you've got there. And in this, it's all about taking toys. These are like toy recipes. It's essentially a contract fulfillment game. So you go and you pick up the toy recipes, and then you go to the locations where you pick up resources. And I guess the twist on this game is that you can't put something, you can't store stuff unless you've got a toy to put it on. And then all of these spaces, they are sequenced. So if you go there first, you get 2 of the resource. Here, for example, I'd get it's fabric, metal, wood, or assembly tokens. They're like blueprints. Yep. So if I get 2 of these, that's a bad example because I don't have a toy that takes them. I get 2 of these, I would put them on here. The next player to go there would get 3 of them, but would give... the elf on the left is helping and gets 1 point for helping. So if you're there first, you get fewer resources, but you get a point every time someone else goes there. So that's this interesting thing where you're trying to go to places that other people want to go because you'll get some extra rewards out of it. You get these. You can pick up ornaments. They give you some random bonuses, and you hang them on your tree. And you can try to collect sets of reindeer as well. So you go up to the reindeer spot, and it gives you a few resources, but also a reindeer, and then you get points for endgame sets. After the 3rd and 6th round, you total up the number of toys you've completed in the last 3 rounds, and the total ornaments you've hung across the whole game, and there's majority points for that. And that's almost the whole how to play. It's very simple, the base side of the game.
For something that is simple, but yet you have this mechanic, just put a little bit of sprinkle of this, just like Christmas. Yeah. I think it's great. It's like not a lot of text in here, so that means that younger kids could play it. I mean, what does it say? It's actually playing 6+. There you go.
Yeah, they've done the testing for a very young age group, which most Eurogame companies aren't going to go out and do.
Yeah.
But it is, this side in particular is a perfect introduction to worker placement, and it's a perfect, buy it as a Christmas present because it's thematic, and then it is an introduction to worker placement. So it's really well designed in that way, very quick and simple.
They'll need a bigger stocking though.
True.
Could be under the tree.
Yep. And then we'll sweep that out and go to the advanced side.
So should I just pull it like before? No, I shouldn't. It's a mess.
If you can make that happen, I'll be very impressed.
Yeah, I won't be. I won't even want to dare to try because it'll probably go under the table. Oh no. It's occasionally, this is our filming room, right? Occasionally we find stuff under the table or things that we forget to pack. What is this? And then it will be a few months ago. I'm a few months later, I'm oh, what is this? So I have a pile of bowls full of stuff that I forget what it is. It's that game in that other room in the whatever. I have to find the game first. So yeah, do you know that?
No, I do see that appear from time to time.
I know, appear from time to time. Well, at least it's still inside this house, not outside. So when we go out to our board game meetup, fortnightly board game meetup, we'll try to always look under the table, see if anything's missing. I mean, you would do that as well, right? If you go out and play games, you're just trying to look at the components or just make a mess of components here. Speaking about components. Yes. I'm just rambling about components.
Yes, I thought we were just going to cut until...
Oh, sorry.
Until
there's no Christmas magic here. There's Christmas magic in my shorts. YouTube shorts. Maybe not.
Yeah,
anyway.
Let's not keep that in.
All right.
So now we're on the advanced side. So there's a bit more of your classical Euro engine building involved in this version of the game. Plays over 9 rounds instead of 6. It's still a worker placement, but now the elves have to mine coal. That's how you know it's the advanced version. You've got coal as a general resource, and you
have to pay.
Spend that coal to get resources from here. You can get upgrades, which makes certain elves more powerful when they go to that material shop in future. This all still works. The ornaments work in reverse, so now you're putting them on the board instead of taking them off. You know what benefits you're going to get instead of it all being random. The reindeer cost coal, and you can also upgrade your equipment. So as you get, say, fabric, you can make reindeer blankets, and that makes the reindeer cheaper. As you get wood, you can upgrade your coal carts. So every time you go and dig coal, you always fill your carts. That means you get way more coal and have fewer times going back and forward. So still a similar premise in that you have to get these cards and fill them up. You can't store resources other than coal without these cards to put them on. But you don't have as much of the help, the go early, get less, but get more as people go there. There's only one action space where that happens. And it's on these. It makes these incredibly scarce.
That's the hard bit about this one. It always feels like, oh, I need to take first player so I can go there first next time. Yes. Type of thing. But then I'll lose the first player because then you go to the first player and then someone else. Anyway.
Yeah. So this is fun as well. It's it is light to medium in the Euro worker placement space, but it is a good stepping stone from the first side of the board. It's the same theme, but it is it's fun. It's nice and light and quick and Christmassy.
I like the way that there is Santa's inspection every 3 rounds. So after round 3, after round 6, they would look at which elf or which player has got the most toys. So it's kind of like drive you, okay, I want to complete lots of toys, but then it's cheap toys, easy to complete, not a lot of resources, but then not a lot of points as well. Or you want to do other things as well. This is one of those things that you have to make a difficult decision.
Yeah.
And this one as well,
yes,
which is the area control bit.
Yeah, because it's toys and ornaments. It's same as on the other side. It's toys from the last 3 rounds, but ornaments from the whole game. So if you're building ornaments early on, they will count towards these these points ongoing. So it makes for an interesting timing.
Yeah, and the reindeer as well, the fact that it has resources, so you don't always have to go and gain the worker placement space that you can get it off the reindeer, for example.
Yeah, these are definitely tighter. It's certainly got a tighter feel than the other side. You can always go and get the resource you want. You just help other players.
Yes.
Whereas this side, there's only 2 spaces or only 1 if you're playing at 2 players for each of these resources, and you've got to go and chase them the other way. But you do have 3 rounds between inspections, which means you've got a couple of chances to make up for missing what you want. So it is not super punishing, but it has those points of tension.
Really gorgeous game. Even the rule book, that material, like
that linen finish
material, I love it. And it's some of the Stonemaier games I think has that, but it's not as shiny as this one. So, and the components are great, and then the elf, they look slightly different.
Yes, because
you're not distinct enough.
Yeah, because you're specifically upgrading each elf, they are slightly different. There's one with long legs, one with short legs or a tunic or something, and then one with hand up.
Yeah, and the engine building, I enjoy that as well. So it's decent game. Hopefully that people would play this even after Christmas, like in July, Christmas in July, whatever, Santa Workshop in July. So yes, recommend this for families and for Euro gamers because it's just a fun little game.
Yeah, it'll get you in the Christmas spirit. And there we have it. That is our review of 10 games. Hopefully you are still with us and have enjoyed seeing what's been on offer in the latter part of the year.
Now, very important thing, we will be doing our top games of 2023, but we want to wait until the very last minute until we make the video. So there are a few floating around. You probably already seen a few creators have got their top games of the year, but we want to just wait. So our games is probably going to come up in January probably because of that, you know, want to try to squeeze in playing a lot of games. We still have a few games we want to play or play again. I can't wait to play games now. Bye everyone. Thanks for watching. Hit like and comment if you like, and hopefully you have a wonderful holidays. Merry Christmas if you're celebrating. See you later. Bye.
Bye.